What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update. Quite a few bits and pieces to get through as January edges closer. But before we do get into that, go and check out our website, WeAreTottenhamTV.co.uk, for your latest articles. And as I keep saying, we will be doing an episode very soon reacting to the best comments on there, where we'll be giving away some free merch. To go and be in with a chance to win it, and leave a comment on the website on any article, and we'll react to the best ones. But let's start off talking about Eric Dier, as Nazar Kinsella of the Standard says that Dier could leave Spurs in January now, after again being dropped after the Villa defeat. And if you put yourself in the head of Eric Dier now, like, we're playing fullbacks at centre-backs to not play him. He did get a chance against Wolves, and, you know, he did all right, but it's just clear to see he's not good enough. And the goals that we did concede were, you know, he very much had his hand in those goals. So when you put yourself in Eric Dier's head, like, surely he's just got to leave sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I would have said the same in the summer, but surely that has gotten worse for him in terms of the playing time he's getting. As you say, it must have been a bit of a kick in the face on Sunday against Aston Villa. Just after putting in a performance against Wolves, he then gets dropped for Emerson Royal, and even Ben Davies is picked ahead of him now at centre-back. So if that doesn't tell him where he is in the pecking order, I'm not sure what will. But then again, I'm sure they had those conversations in the summer. It was pretty obvious we were trying to get rid of him. We were pretty much offering him to anyone who would take him. But it seems as though Eric was the one holding up the deal at that point. So there are also suggestions that, you know, seeing as he's available on a free transfer in the summer, he could just hold out for another 6 months and then get a bigger payout in terms of wages and signing on fee and all that kind of stuff in the summer, rather than leaving in January. So I wouldn't be surprised if we still see him here. I just hope we don't take it into account. If he's going to be here, don't just act as if as though he isn't. That's what I think Spurs should be doing. I don't understand why we wouldn't just try to let him go for free in January anyway. If he's going to stick around here, a player that we don't want to use until the summer, where his contract's going to end, we may as well just let him go for free in January anyway. Should let him go free in the summer. Yeah, that's another you know
story.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So I just hope, like, whatever happens with Dier, I don't really care, as long as Tottenham treat it as if he isn't going to be here. Yeah, let's hope so. Let's talk about some potential centre-backs incoming, and Nazar Kinsella is talking about Jean-Claire Todibo, French international. Tottenham have joined the race for Nice defender Jean-Claire Todibo, who could be available for around £35 million. The 23-year-old has recently broken into the French squad, and Tottenham have made a new centre-back the top of their priority list in January. And along with Todibo, they have a long-standing interest in Lloyd Kelly, Mark Guehi, and Jared Braithwaite, who are alternative targets to Todibo. In the summer, he was heavily linked with Manchester United alongside Tapsoba, who obviously we were linked with as well. I mean, when I'm looking at Todibo, every single attribute that he has, I think, is so valuable in an Ange Postecoglou system. He seems perfect for us. The only question is, obviously, Nice are flying high. They're in a title race at the moment in France. He's 23, just broke into the France team, squad, sorry, I should say. Can play on the right side, can play on the left side. He's strong, he's fast, good on the ball. The only thing is, he's obviously very highly sought after. You know, that £35 million fee you're talking about, I think, is probably understating it, considering the interest in him from other clubs. Is he going to want to leave mid-season as well, when Nice are going for the title? Or is he going to want to jump ship on that when he's, and also is he going to want to jump ship on that to come to Tottenham when he's not necessarily guaranteed first team football straight away, depending on the fitness of Ander Van Romero? I would love it to happen. I think 100% we should be going for him, and we 100% should be making a bid and stating our case of why he should come here. I just find it very hard to believe that this deal is kind of possible in January right now, especially given the reports that Tottenham don't have a lot of money, because I think it is going to take a lot of money to get him out, in my opinion. So I find it unlikely, but 100%, if I'm Tottenham, I'm going for him.
Yeah, I agree. To be honest, I think it is unlikely, and I think if we are going to bring in a centre-back this summer, it's probably going to be of the calibre of someone like a Lloyd Kelly.
It's January.
Sorry, January. But someone of like a Lloyd Kelly, or someone that's contract is running down, like Tosin Adarabioyo, you know, someone of that level, to be honest. And if we are going to sign someone of the level of Todibo, I think it's going to be more of a summer move than a January move.
But if it's possible, I'll do it.
Oh, 100%.
If it's possible, I'll do it.
It'll be a massive asset to us. Massive. And it increases our kind of defensive resolve so much, because if Romero or Van de Ven get injured, or like they're injured right now, you don't really drop off in quality too much.
But he's the type of player who could compete with them, who can maybe even take on their places. Yeah. I'm not even saying it's not about one of them dropping out. He could maybe compete with them.
But what I'm saying is, if they do drop out, we don't lose quality. Let's talk about Lloyd Kelly now. Gary Jacobs said Tottenham have retained an interest in signing Lloyd Kelly after Bournemouth rejected an offer of the 25-year-old centre-back in the summer. However, Bournemouth have shown that they are willing to let the player leave as a free agent if necessary, and when his deal expires in the summer, which I don't get, to be honest.
Again, we spoke about this in the last time. It depends about how much they value him compared to their relegation fight. If they feel like they're not going to be able to stay up without him, then it is worth keeping him, even if it means him going on a free. It would be worth it in that front. But apparently he just picked up an injury on the weekend, a hamstring injury. So we'll have to see the extent of that. And if let's say it's a tear, he could be out for a couple of months. That would definitely affect Tottenham's interest, because no point signing him now if he's going to be injured for a significant period. So I have to see how that injury is. But I think from Bournemouth's point of view, it makes sense to have a price and not budge on it, considering the position they're in.
Yeah, but if that price is 30 million, you're just going to lose out when you could get like 15, maybe even 20 million in January, where you could use that money to kind of getting in a different defender in to help them stay up, where Lloyd Kelly, you're going to lose him on a free otherwise, so you may as well get the money in.
But then they would argue that they can use the money they make from staying up to sign someone, whereas if they go down and without him, then all of a sudden, what good is an extra 20 million?
You know, they could go down with him.
They could, yeah, but that's the judgment they got to make.
They also could bring in a defender that could be even better than Kelly, or on the same level as Kelly as well.
I agree with you, but I'm saying that's the judgment they got to make. But I don't blame them totally for making the judgment that they're better off sticking with him.
Like, Kelly is not the be-all and end-all to stay up for Bournemouth. You know what I mean? Like, there are plenty of defenders out there.
They might feel like he's that good. I don't know. Depends on where they're feeling. How they're feeling.
It's interesting because he doesn't even start every game. That's the honest truth for Bournemouth. So, like, why would they dig their heels in so much for someone who's got their contract ending up at the end of the transfer window?
That's on Bournemouth to say.
Let's talk about Dragusin, and his agent has been speaking. We have spoken about him in previous updates, and his agent says that I've been in London for some time and have almost weekly meetings with important teams. We are getting closer. I spoke with Newcastle, with Arsenal, with Tottenham. I also have messages with them, conversations. There are teams to ask. They are the teams to ask about with Dragusin. So his agent obviously trying to drum up some interest in him. He's a player that Fabio Paratici will know very well, as he was at Juventus, signed for Genoa this summer, just gone, and he's doing pretty well in the league this season.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a ton of experience at top level. I think this is his first season playing regularly in Serie A. Last season, I think he played a lot in Serie B for Genoa. But this definitely seems like a deal. These are the types of deals we should be looking for. Players who you can see kind of breaking out into top-level football. People you've scouted and think they could definitely fill in the role. Get them at maybe an under-market price, potentially for a player who's 21, who's happy to kind of play the backup role for now, but with high potential to grow and become a better defender. So these are the type of deals I'm definitely excited about. And I kind of would rather this kind of deal than even like a Lloyd Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure because I haven't really seen this guy play too much, so I can't really hand on heart say, he would be a great asset for us. But we have had previous of taking, scraps from Juventus before, where he did move to Genoa first. But look, if I'm going to trust the scouting, because since Paratici has come in, I think that has been, definitely worked in our favour so far. So I think whichever defender they do decide to go for, I think will be the right choice, in my opinion. Let's talk about Jota now. Nazar Kinsella says that Tottenham could look to add depth in other positions, including on the wing. A loan move to Jota, the Al Ittihad winger who played under Postecoglou at Celtic, is a possibility. And Gary Jacobs says that Tottenham have stepped up their interest in Jota, formerly of Celtic, who is available on a loan in January. While the North London club's priority is to bring in a centre-back when the January transfer window opens, they may also be looking for short-term cover on the wing. I'll be very excited about this transfer. a loan for him until the end of the season with potential option to buy as well in there if El Etihad are not looking to get him back, I think would be a very good signing for us. I went to say in the summer that we should be looking for him. He's a player that knows Postecoglou's system inside out, and he was so good for Celtic last season. Goal contributions, assists, goals, and very much helped Celtic go and win that treble last year.
I think this one seems to have legs because obviously he's not even registered for El Etihad at the moment. He's only.
I thought he's been playing.
He can only play in the Champions League.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he's not registered for league football. That's why he's not. So because of the foreign player limit. So there's a big issue there, obviously, for him. He needs to be playing football regularly. And obviously Tottenham are looking for cover on the wing. Obviously Bryan Hill played on the weekend, which was okay, played pretty well, but for me, flatters to deceive a bit. We need a player who can play on the left like Jota. Ange knows him well. He knows Ange's system. A loan deal definitely makes sense. Was Solomon still out? Perisic out for the rest of the season? I don't see a real reason why this can't happen, to be honest. I think this actually has legs. Obviously, Gary Jacobs is very reliable, and if he's reporting there's serious interest, there's no reason why we shouldn't be looking at him, to be honest. And I think that'll be a great deal for us on a loan.
It'll be an exciting addition as well, won't he? Because he brings trickery, he brings flair, he brings one-on-one, creative attacking. So I'll be well up for this one if we can get it over the line.
I wonder if that means what that means for someone like Hill if we do bring him in. Whether that means he really doesn't fancy Hill.
Yeah, but even if Hill sticks about, we still need options there because we're just running out of options in every area.
Yeah, it's also true,
to be fair. So I don't think it really means too much for Bryan Hill, but what it does mean is that we're going to have different options there. So that'll be a good thing.
I would say it means something because Richarlison's coming back. You've got Richarlison, you've got Brennan Johnson, you've got Kulusevski there as well. So if he brings in Jota, all of a sudden you've got a fourth one, and there doesn't seem to be much room again for Hill.
Yeah, it's true. But you're looking at Sonny, who's going out to the Asia Cup in January, which we're going to be short of numbers there in January. So you imagine Richarlison moves up top. Jota. I mean, Jota's just so much of a better player than Bryan Hill. That's just the reality, and we just got to focus on what's best for the club and not just talk about sentimentalities within certain players. And I think Bryan Hill, I believe in his talents, and I think he can be good for this football club, but he needs to earn it, and he hasn't earned it just yet.
I'm not disagreeing at all. I'm just saying if we do bring him in, I wonder if that means is his time up, maybe.
I think still he has, even if Jota comes in, I still think Bryan Hill has the opportunity to earn that right from the bench, grab his chance. He needs to grab his chances, which he's not doing. Next up, Santiago Jimenez. Once again, we're going to talk about as L'Equipe are talking, and they say Tottenham and Arsenal are keen on signing finals 22-year-old striker in January who has scored 16 league goals this season, he is just in firing form at the moment.
Yeah, for a team, for a club who apparently don't have a lot of money in January, apparently we seem to be wanting to spend a lot of it. Yeah. That's what they're saying. But as I've said before, I think it'd be a great signing. I think it'd be a brilliant either backup or competition for Sonny up front. Especially Sonny going over to the Asia Cup, but I don't think you spend big money on a striker just for 1 month. Obviously, you see him as a long-term, potentially competition or potentially replacement in the long term for Sonny. I just don't see us splashing big money on a striker in January. I find it hard to believe we're going to do that. But if we do, I'm all for improving the squad, even if it means in January, whenever it is. If we're looking to improve the squad, I'm all for it. So if Tottenham are willing to spend big money on him, then I think it'll be a brilliant move. And I think it'll just increase our chances of trying to get into that top 5. And it'll be better for us in the long term. He'll be bedded in for 6 months for next season. But in reality, do I really see us doing that? I mean, especially if we're going to get Jota, do I see us really going a big on a striker as well? I don't see it.
The only way I see this one happening in January is if Richarlison ends up going, because we have heard those rumours about Richarlison to Saudi or something like that. So if that does come to fruition, then we would need someone like that desperately.
I agree with that.
Let's talk about this interesting story we heard about all over the summer or just before the summer that QSI were interested and in talks with Daniel Levy over apparently getting a minority stakeholder into Tottenham. Simon Stone says that QSI have been looking at buying part of a Premier League club. However, talks with Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy got nowhere because the price was too high, and that was kind of echoed by another journalist called Abdella Bulma, who focuses on FIFA FIFA subject things, and he says QSI did try and invest in a Premier League club, more precisely in Tottenham, but discussions with the chairman were unsuccessful because the price was too high. So very same stories there from Abdullah and Simon, but no surprise there, is it?
No, not at all. I'm sure Levy values Tottenham a lot higher than maybe QSI does, and that's the reason for it. And there was always going to be a sticking point there because I think Levy values Spurs like higher than Chelsea, doesn't he? He values us about over 5 billion. QSI probably coming into it. I remember a few years ago they were saying that Levy would have sold or would only be interested in like offers of like 3.5 billion. And that's even gone up from then. So QSI coming in, they're probably looking at that kind of valuation and probably looking to get a stake in that. But Levy's probably gone, look, that's old news. Where that value is a lot higher, and they probably disagree with that. So it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, they go up $500 million to $1 billion like every summer.
Yeah, literally. So it's what it is. Levy's always going to want as much as possible, isn't he?
And let's finish off talking about some injury updates from Nazar Kinsella. As first up, Rodrigo Bentancur will have his ankle injury assessed today. I'm not sure why it's taken so long, to be honest. I would love to have known already. Like, he got injured 2 days ago already now. Like, where's this update? We need it.
Yeah, 100%. But maybe it takes some time for the swelling to go down, all these different things. So it doesn't surprise me.
Pape Matar will be monitored this week ahead of the game against Man City, and I feel like we really need him for the game against Man City this weekend. With that legs in midfield, I do feel like if we were to play the same midfield like we did against Aston Villa, we could get opened up a little bit on the weekend.
I think we're going to get opened up regardless. So I think we need Sarr. I think we could definitely do with Sarr. But I also think you look at Lo Celso and Kulusevski, the work they were putting in. If you could put that work rate in, I'm not saying we'll win, but for sure we can give Man City a game even with those two. So a part of me would be excited. And Basuma's back as well. So hopefully Sarr is back. But if not, we can. I'm worried. I'm worried either way, but I'm not like desperate for Sarr back. In if you know what I mean.
If Sarr's fit, do you play him?
Yeah, I play him.
Yeah, me as well. Richarlison expected to be back before Christmas, so it looks like that we should be seeing Richarlison sooner rather than later. And whatever you think about Richarlison and how poor he's been or slight improvements, you think like we do need him because we're just so down on numbers. Yeah,
one thing as well I would say that was definitely lacking in the Villa game was whenever we kind of had some supply into the area, like aerially, we did struggle, and that's probably why he brought Vlies on late on to try and make something happen, but didn't really happen. So at least with Richarlison there, he's a threat physically in the box, which without him we just don't seem to have. So it'll be good to have that option back.
Yeah. And Maddison, Van der Ven, Solomon and Sessegnon are still not expected to be back until the new year. And it's a strange one with specifically Ryan Sessegnon, because I swear we heard like a month or two ago saying like, oh, he's back in training and he's going to be back soon.
We didn't hear back in training, but we heard, yeah, he's not far off. I don't know if he had a setback or maybe not far off in the context of how long he was supposed to be out is maybe what they meant. I don't know, but he's been out since now January last year, so it's going to be coming up to a year.
It's mad to
he's
think
out.
Like Bentancur got the ACL before Sessegnon was out.
Yeah.
Or after? Yeah, after.
Before. Sessegnon first. Yeah. So it's a massive shame that he's had this big problem. And also the worrying thing is if he comes back and Ange doesn't really have a place for him, I don't really see too many options for him apart from maybe a loan deal, because I don't see anyone spending money on a player who's had all these injury problems before this big injury, and now he's had this big injury. So, and also when he has been fit, it's not exactly he's been setting the world alight either. Albeit, I would say under Conte he had a little spell where he was playing well, but it's going to be difficult to see a future for him where it is.
Yeah, it's a sad case for Ryan Sessegnon because he's still such a young player. We just can't get any sort of consistency in terms of getting him on the pitch and on a regular occurrence. And he's been out for so long now. It's like over a year, or maybe just under a year. It's just crazy how long he's been out for. And the reality about it is, we actually tried to sell him in the summer, but just before he got that injury, a recurrence of the injury anyway. And if he didn't get that kind of injury in the summer, he probably wouldn't be here. Let's be honest. And last but not least, Ivan Perisic is not expected to play for the club again after suffering an ACL injury. I mean, I said this at the time, didn't expect him to play again. Maybe he will end up just going to Hajduk Split now in January.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It's a massive shame. He'd be like starting week in, week out, actually, if it wasn't for that ACL. He was looking good. And I think, he could have done some good stuff under Ange, but such a shame. It happened in training, didn't it? It didn't even happen in match setting. So it'll be a shame to see him go, but at the end of the day, is what it is. You've got a bad injury and you're that age. It's even going to be complicated for him to return to anything near the level he was. But we'll see. We'll see how he goes.
All right, well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comments section below your thoughts regarding all the news topics we've brought to you today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.